Hello and welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl, Wealth Transformation. Wake up, wake up, wake up to being fully alive in your clear awareness of your wealth from inside and out. It's never too late to change your attitude and relationship with money, which means to change your emotional relationship with wealth and money. How do you do this? First, by recognizing when you buy your things impulsively. Are you depressed? Are you feeling sad when you spend money? Just become aware of what drives you to buy things, and then you can get to the root and heal this behavior. It's the beginning anyway. I found this great metaphor. The center of a flower is the core from which the flower stands, the source of its pollen, and the seat of its nectar and fragrance. At the core of your being is the source that sustains you. Through meditation, we come home to it. The purpose of our show is to raise the consciousness and healing with your relationship with wealth and currency and apply unconditional love. Money is like love. It kills slowly and painfully the one who withholds it and enlivens the other who turns it on his fellow man, by Kahlil Gibran. Our special local guest this evening is Paul Anderson. Born in Walla Walla, Washington, he arrived in San Francisco in 1965, graduated from City College of San Francisco in 1968, and San Francisco State University in 1970 with a degree in marketing. Paul moved to Marin in 1970 and Sausalito in 1972. He founded Marin Scope Community Newspaper Group in 1970. Then he sold the group 6 newspapers at the time in 1998. He's traveled extensively through the world. Since 2000, Paul has been a media and events consultant. Paul has been involved with the arts events since 1975. Paul is now the managing director of the Sausalito Art Festival Foundation. Paul launched his first publishing business in Sausalito in 1970 and founded Marin Scope. Subsequently, he acquired 4 additional Marin County weekly newspapers. He was the president and board of the Rotary Housing Corporation, overseeing the development and construction of 2 major projects in 1991 and 2004 for senior housing in Sausalito. He was the founder and president of Friends of Sausalito Art Festival. Earlier, he served on the President's Committee of Sonoma State University. He was the president of Sausalito Rotary Club, as well as the Sausalito, I'm saying that sleazing together here, Sausalito Chamber of Commerce, and received a Lifetime Achievement Award. He now serves as a trustee of the Sausalito Art Festival Foundation. Beyond success, there is significance, and Paul Anderson has been a significant and positive influence as a father, patron, businessman, and a friend to many people and communities. He is relevant as a speaker because he has fulfilled the most important prerequisite. He has listened. I'm going to say that again. He has listened. While engaging in a broad spectrum of personal and entrepreneurial interests, Paul listened and understood before he reacted. And his reactions reflect an uncommon depth of empathy, compassion, and understanding. His resulting actions are driven to move beyond the trappings of perceived success. He seeks significance and stability, which in our current tempestuous world is hardly a modest goal. This is the second segment with Paul, and continuing our discussion of keeping people close to you that have that same attitude.
I mean, that's what it's all there. I don't think there's anything that stops us from
just ourselves,
from being who we are, and we're the only thing. We're the only thing that stops us. Other than that,
absolutely,
there isn't anything that stops you. Which is kind of, those things they go, oh my God, how are you so lucky? Well, I don't think I'm lucky.
It's See, I don't
I'm not lucky.
even know if I believe in luck.
I'm just happy.
Yeah.
Pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
That's the part
But
that's
some
fun.
people, they, they get themselves in the way, so
Right.
they don't realize that freedom that you
Right.
have.
So what happens is, you find that things, as I said, you always look back and you go, what was the point in time where something changed within me? I took a class at City College of San Francisco, probably 1967, 68. And it was an art appreciation class.
Oh.
And the teacher, believe it or not, his name was Eki, and he lived in Sausalito. But he traveled all over the world on summers, and he took slides and bought slides in museums. So his class on art appreciation was an ongoing dialogue for an hour with slides.
Mm-hmm.
And he would start with a museum, and he'd say, this museum has a basis of this, and here's why. It's the Prado in Madrid, and the art that's in Madrid is X, Y, and Z, and here's why, because the history of the country was portrayed in the art, and now you can see how a Spaniard has a fiery temper. Okay, so you would tie these things all together, and you would watch it, and it got me so intrigued with the art world in terms of the appreciation
That's
of
the
art.
spawning of your art
See this?
appreciation.
So
I love
what happened was it was looking at a painting and seeing beyond just what you were looking at. The person, how they laid a brushstroke down,
Yes.
or the finesse of a certain thing, or to get a certain hue that you wouldn't find otherwise, but you'd only see it in the artist's eye. Mm-hmm. And so it changed something within the way in which I looked at the world.
Have you ever been an art? I mean, I know that you're an artist.
I'm not.
But maybe not that kind of an artist.
I'm an artist in a different way.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's right.
I've studied Chinese brush painting for 4 years, and I know that's so freeing and I love the style of it. I love the medium because it's permanent ink, but it's mutable. You can
play with it.
Oh, it's wonderful.
You play with it. And the same thing with like mixing a color, looking at the pieces that make a color, look at all of the ingredients, or a certain type of doing pastels. Pastels are great, mixing pastels. I mean, I watch people doing it and then say, oh, I did a little bit here. And
yes, and that's all it that finishes it.
That's all it takes.
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But that was something that was really a major kind of like, ooh, wow, I really enjoy this. This is really cool. And, when I finished school the next year, 2 years later at San Francisco State, it was right there, 1970, and jobs were, it was really strange. It was a very, very weird time to get a job. I had 3 job placement interviews, and people say to me, well, why didn't you take one of those jobs? I said, well, one of them I figured out was with the CIA. And I went, no, that's not my, okay. One of them was with an oil company looking for gas station locations. And I thought, oh my God, can you imagine 4 years later we had a crisis with oil, and we didn't have a place for gas stations. And the other one was just a benign, I'm sorry. And my wife and I decided to go to Europe. And I was working for the Chronicle at the time in the mechanical department, and I was a member of the credit union. So I went down and I said, I want to buy a Volkswagen camper and take delivery in Europe. And they said, well, we can do that for you, because once again, I had a job and I was doing this. And we got a Volkswagen camper and spent 3 months driving through Europe. And it was another changing point. It was a time where you watched other people in different locales.
Yes. That's such a wonderful education.
All living, taking care of every day. But you found out that a baguette and a little bit of soup for lunch in France was all you needed. And it was fantastic. Simple. You didn't need big things. And traveling and looking at different cultures and learning how to nod your head and smile when you didn't know the language.
Yes.
And getting directions.
And there's always that universal language, and it is a smile.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's amazing. People say, oh, these people are really harsh. No, they're not.
And when you even attempt to try to speak someone else's language, they appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly.
Once again, learn the 3 or 4 thank yous.
Yes,
You know,
yes, yes.
merci. We got it down. You know, we were there. All of a sudden, you think
Absolutely.
you're a Frenchman. You know, pretty funny. But you know, it was really another time when you could able to look around and say, wow, we really are a very homogenous group of people. I mean, Earth is small.
It is small.
And when you have a chance to see all the different people, and early on in your life, you get a chance to really appreciate the fact that all of our cultures and all of the things that we hold dear come from a real background. It's something that's been there forever. Now all of a sudden we get to enjoy all the years of that being passed down.
Yeah.
And we get to mold it, you know, into what our lifestyles
Well, and
are.
integrating all of it.
All the pieces together.
Because I know that I've been raised with mostly English, a little bit of German, French, and Black Irish. And now I can see it, at this point in my life, I can see how it all integrates.
Right.
And, you know, some of it's a little challenging, and the rest, you know, it's like, oh, you know.
Well, I didn't realize until a few years ago the importance of immigrants. And, you know, we all talk about, you know,
We're
the
all from
situation now.
immigrants, really.
But I'm a first generation immigrant son. My father was born in Stockholm.
Oh, wow, okay.
And,
Anderson,
you know,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it, you know, all of a sudden someone said to me, wow. I said, yeah, I mean, Dad was born in Stockholm. Now, he came over here very young. My grandfather brought his whole family, the whole family over. But, you know, it puts a different perspective
Sure,
on where you can be. You know,
Yeah.
America's, it is for everyone.
Yes,
And there are no limitations.
no, that's right.
And that's the beauty of the place.
Yeah, and I have roots that go back 4 generations, or no, I should say, from the early 1700s
Wow.
here. I mean, I'm 4th generation Californian,
Yeah.
so my roots are really deep. all my family are up in Angels Camp.
Oh, wow.
That's where everybody's
49ers there, that's where they're at.
that's,
Yeah.
you know, my great-grandparents settled there, and, you know, and there's a whole story around that. But,
Yeah.
you know, we live in such a wealthy area, and we just need to appreciate it.
That's right. And
And-
sometimes it really is true. Just stop and smell the roses.
Yeah, and I really want to hear more about the Sausalito Art Festival, because it is such, I had no idea until this year how internationally known that it really is. I mean, all those beautiful art exhibits. And,
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, let me give you a little background on the art festival.
Yes.
Because, you know, history is really fun, and there's reasons why
Oh,
we're there.
yeah.
And now you figured out how I got the art part of it. At least I
Yes,
told you that part of
yes,
the
that's
story.
wonderful.
The Sausalito Art Festival started in 1952 on the waterfront by a group of weekend
Yeah,
artists.
Yeah, like they do in San Francisco.
And it was the area that is now towards where the Spinnaker is. The Spinnaker wasn't there. The Spinnaker was
Right where that field
manufactured.
is?
It's kind of there's a little park right there.
Yeah, yeah.
But right in that area, by what's like the Bank of America, there was a beach, and you know they put their easels up and they had an art festival. Well, by 1956 and 57, there were 20,000 people coming to the art festival in Sausalito. Okay.
Wow.
Now remember, during that period of time, everyone took the train to Sausalito,
That's right.
got on the ferry boats, and they were auto ferry boats and passenger ferry boats that went to San Francisco. There was no Golden Gate Bridge. Oh, sorry, there was a Golden Gate Bridge in '52,
Yeah,
but there were still people coming here.
Right.
I got ahead
That's
of myself
okay.
there.
That's all
Yeah,
right.
that happens every once in a while. So anyway, the people were here, 20,000 people. This is a newspaper report I read, that were at the festival. And it was still something that was very, very local. And it continued to be that way. And over the years, it's been kind of run by the city of Sausalito, ran it for a period of time. The Sausalito Women's Club ran it for a period of time. The Art Commission ran it for a period of time. There was an art association that ran it. And in 1975, 76, the city of Sausalito was they were the group that were running it. And they hired a director. His name was Tyson Underwood. Tyson still runs the Marin Art Festival here now. Tyson's from Mill Valley. And he put a new life into the festival. He said, you know, we've got some great artists here.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back. Let's put it together.
Yeah.
And so he had a vision, and it was a great vision. And I remember volunteering in '75 before he took over for the first time, helping to hang some pegboards. And I enjoyed it because it was part of the community. And, you know, I met people I hadn't met in town before. But Tyson brought something to the event that made a difference. Just prior to Tyson, Barbara Veach Voorhees had been the director, and she did the same thing. She was bringing it to a better place. So by 1978, we had a really fine show. It was small, it was around 100 artists, but the quality was what they were looking for. It was, you know, we're not a street fair, you know, and it's never, I mean, even in the beginning, it was never a street fair. And so the festival itself in 78, I can remember a group of artists sitting around on Friday night, and everyone was having a beer, and it was a beautiful Sausalito evening, saying, God, wouldn't it be nice if we had an opening night party? So for some reason that sparked my interest. And I talked to a good friend, Tony Campadonico, who at that point in time, Tony still lives in Ross. He was Pepsi-Cola in San Francisco. And he said, well, you know, there's a really great opening night party down in Laguna Beach. And they do this really terrific party. They invite the whole community, and it's great. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. So during the year,
what beach was it?
Laguna Beach.
Yeah. Okay.
So during that year, it just kept coming back to me. And I was a member of the Rotary Club in town. So I talked to some Rotarians, and I said, guys, you know, how about let's do something? Well, that year, that didn't come together with the Rotary Club, but Tyson and a good friend of his, Steve Bajer, also from Mill Valley, were involved. And Steve organized people to cook turkeys and hams. And I believe the Rotary Club did serve the food, but we had girls on roller skates running around with you know the cigarette
Like the
cases.
A&W.
And we sold drink tickets for $1 or $2 to get a glass of wine or something. But it turned out to be about 300 people showed up. And it was really, really a fun event. And that kind of kicked it off. And by the next year, we were doing more and more people. And we formed what was called the Friends of the Festival. It was a separate nonprofit to be able to do that. And the following year, the Chamber of Commerce took over the actual management from the city. And it made a difference. It was business people looking at a business, and the art director looking at the art, and striving to make it better. And my job was to get the community to come down, and we started getting more and more volunteers with the Friends.
So how long have you been doing this?
So 1979, I started the opening night party, and now, thank God, Wayne Kalick from Gene Hiller in Sausalito is the chair, and Wayne's just the best. I mean, there's just no one with that kind of energy having that much fun. But Wayne has taken over as the chair of it, and the party this last year and the year before are just, you know, it's the best. But all these years, it was something for the community to come together, have a good time. That kicked off the event and made the opening night party kind of a must-do, and it also showed artists throughout the United States that Sausalito had a really great group of patrons of the art
and solid
that would come out, and they would also buy. That's the key. Okay, we had a population, we had a group of patrons that really appreciated the fact that here were people that were world-class artists.
Well, and you said that there were buyers from Europe as well.
That's right. So over the last few years, we've grown in that we have people coming in from all over the United States and Europe to look at the show. The show this year was 275 artists. We had a tremendous art show. Some of the artists.
It was so
it's
crowded.
Back. It's back. 2007, it was kind of the last big year for before everything hit. 2008, 9, 10. Boy, I'll tell you, these were hard for artists, and they all survived, but it was on a lot less. But this was a year that things came back again, and I've heard that across the United States from other shows. So
that's great.
People are back. So the festival itself was and still is a community volunteer organization, and it's different from most shows in that, like all the food booths are run by nonprofits in town. The art festival charges them a small fee for the space, but they take home all the money, everything they make, and then they use it for their programs within the city, which is great, benefits everybody. The Rotary Club parks the cars. Over the last 25 years, they had the seed money to build 2 major projects
Is that
from
for
the
the
parking
senior?
for seniors.
Yeah.
The first one was in 1991, and that was a project of 10 units. It's on B Street. And in all these years, it has never, ever had a vacancy. And the second one was in 2004 when we did 22 units on Coloma Street, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom units, all for seniors, without any government restrictions.
And all those proceeds were from the festivals?
The money that actually funded the beginning of it, the down payments that we needed to make, all came from parking cars at the art festival with the Rotary Club.
That's incredible.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
It's really wonderful. So these are the kind of things that, a small community can do. And, once again, always with the idea of it will come.
Yeah,
you just kind of let it happen.
Let it happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And work hard too.
See that? Well, yeah, that's a given, But I think that you can't say that enough.
True.
So people can get it, that they understand that, and it all starts up here.
That's right.
And
and the thing that's really nice too is when you get a group of people together, they're all having a good time. You can't help but have fun.
Well, like that old saying, when you have 2 or more people together, there's more power and more energy, and
that's true.
You can get so much more accomplished.
Yeah. It's true.
So.
And it continues to be a real truism, because our committee meetings are fun. We enjoy ourselves. It's good to see people. We don't see each other for 3 or 4 months, and all of a sudden we come back together again. How you doing? You see somebody you go to the drugstore, and here's a volunteer you saw that was pouring you a beer, okay? And the friendships are just fantastic.
That
and,
develop.
Well,
it's all the same cause. Your heart's in the right place, in the same.
And every once in a while, there's a little love affair that happens out there too. We've got a couple people that actually met at the party and said, "Wow, we kind of like one another." And years later, I used to laugh. This was back in the '80s. The Pacific Sun had their personal page, and the week after there were little notes. I met you. I was in the blue dress at the art festival.
Oh, so there's romance going on there. That's great.
It was
great.
All those good things are part of what's happening.
Well, that's all that makes life worthwhile. Sharing the love, sharing the happiness, sharing the smiles.
Right. So the festival continues to grow, and the thing that's really great about it is that we're now owned by the Sausalito Art Festival Foundation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the Chamber of Commerce 10 years ago, we divided it. We put it into 2 separate entities. Chamber now is just stronger than ever, and it's doing great. And the Art Festival has been able to grow, and we have several really wonderful programs. So one of them, which I really do want to tell you about because it is talking about wealth, it's called Artists Teaching Art.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And we funded the program with the proceeds from the opening night gala, and then the foundation matched those funds. And what we do is we go into public and private schools, and we hire an artist to come in and teach the kids.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, but we tie it into the curriculum.
Yes.
So we have a program right now in Sausalito that's being, there's a tall ship, a 120-foot brigantine, wooden brigantine. It's a replica of a boat that was actually sailing the waters in San Francisco Bay back in 1890. This boat is being built as a floating classroom by the Educational Tall Ship group.
Nice.
So we've partnered with them.
And they're building it in Sausalito?
Building it in Sausalito
I love
on the waterfront.
Bringing that old tradition back.
Of building a ship.
That's what Sausalito's about.
And all the timbers came from a conservation effort up in Mendocino County. So the wood's all here, and it's sitting in place. You can see it. It's beautiful. But what we did was we went together with the tall ships to put together classroom educational. What do I want to call it? It's here's an artist who says, let's paint a mural of the boat. Okay, so we look at a picture of the boat, and we're going to sketch this. Now we're going to blow it up to make it a mural on the side of a building.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take math, which is a core subject now, and let's take math and figure out what's the ratio to be able to
all the dynamics and
the percentages.
Yeah.
So what happens is the artist is there to paint this, and he knows how to do it.
Right. It's all innate.
Exactly. But all of a sudden, he's able to take and get the attention of the children because there's something here that's unusual.
Yeah.
It's not like in a math book. You don't see building ships in a math book.
No.
And all of a sudden, so we tie this together.
Well, that's a creative flow that children need to know.
That's right.
You know, I mean, to me,
That's
it's almost more important. You know, that imagination.
That's right.
Like.
And the thing that's really fun is the artist is, quote unquote, his job is to take and do what he's doing.
Right.
As an artist.
Right.
He's not a teacher per se, but
Yeah.
you know, we learn by watching
Example.
people. Example's
Yeah,
a big thing.
yeah.
So all of a sudden, instead of having, well, today we're going to learn 1, 2, 3. Well, today I got a story to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you build
We're going to take
from
this
that.
and we're going to do this and we're going to make this.
And then you create.
So it's
from
really,
that.
you know,
Yeah.
it changes the whole dynamics
Yeah.
of
That's-
what they say, wealth. And for me, you know, investing in education is.
Oh, that's a key. It's
I
so
mean,
important. It's like the foundation. It is.
Exactly.
It's a foundation.
Right.
You know, I really want to keep talking, and our time is coming down. But is there any other words of wisdom and that you can share beyond what you have? You know, directly around the relationship with, and I say unconditional love, applying unconditional love around wealth.
You know, I think one of the things, that's a big statement.
I know it
you've
is.
made.
I know.
But I think one of the things that people have to, at least I have in my life, I've discovered that, you know, the universe, and you can call the universe in any word you want.
Right.
You can call it, you know, karma, you can call it God, you can do whatever. But
Right.
the universe will give you everything that you desire. And most of the time, the only problem that we have is not being open to receive it.
Yes.
And it sounds so almost trite, but it's so true. I mean, you really and truly do not have to work that hard to have success in your life, okay? You know, be kind, smile, listen to your friends, you know, give back to them, you know. It's so simple to
Yeah.
really enjoy. You know, I love going to the office, and I love saying good morning to everybody, because you know I can tell on their face it was a good morning. And if it's not a good morning, oh, what's wrong? What's
Let's
going
make
on?
it a
Well,
good
let's
morning.
Make it a good morning. My God. We have one of our trustees, Ann Arnott, who brings us in, you know, fresh cookies, okay, and keeps them in the middle of the table. And you know, it's a temptation that we're not supposed to do, but just the idea that she gives that amount of love.
Yeah.
And it's sitting there for everyone to look at when they walk in the door. So, you know, just, you know, the universe will give you, you know, what you need.
Yeah,
You just have to
that's
be able
true.
to accept it, and
Yeah.
wealth will come with it. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you
So,
so much.
Cheryl, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have wonderful stories, and I really appreciate you for sharing everything that you have.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I'll leave you with this. Never give up on your pursuit of your purpose and passion. And even if you don't know what that is, work with integrity and have a positive attitude wherever you work. And please, first and foremost, with your family and friends, be grateful for what you have, who you are, and where you've come from. And be grateful for your freedom and eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind and your body temple. Remember, when fear knocks, let faith answer the door.